What's happening to JK Rowling? The author has sparked fresh controversy after details of her new book were revealed in an early review, with the villain, a psychopathic serial killer, turning out to be a man who dresses as a woman. Most recently, the author linked her Twitter followers to a shop selling anti-transgender items, such as badges that say "F your pronouns" and "notorious transphobe." The controversy concerning the writer initially occurred after she responded to an article discussing menstruation products, taking issue with the phrase "people who menstruate." She has since gone on to release personal essays about the subject, as well as signing an open letter warning against cancel culture, and published a thread of tweets about how we're on the brink of a medical scandal, as well as comparing hormone therapy to gay conversion therapy. Her comments online have sparked backlash from fans, as well as from fellow celebrities such as Harry Potter stars Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, and others including Jonathan Van Ness, fellow author Margaret Atwood, Pete Davidson, and more. Welcome to VOLO Media. Before we start, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon. This is everything you need to know about the situation from the very beginning. Let's begin. What did JK Rowling say? On Saturday, the 6th of June, JK Rowling, quote, tweeted an article with the title, "Opinion, Creating a More Equal Post-COVID-19 World for People Who Menstruate." Rowling took issue with the phrasing, tweeting "people who menstruate." I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Women? Impound? Would? The tweet sparked criticism, with some users taking issue with Rowling appearing to define women as people who menstruate. In response to Rowling's tweet, some Twitter users highlighted that transgender men experience menstruation, transgender women don't, and other gender identities across the spectrum could also experience periods as well. Why were the author's tweets called transphobic? Rowling's insistence that only women experience menstruation has been criticized as being transphobic by some Twitter users, who have pointed out that her comments are just not accurate when it comes to people who menstruate. One person wrote, "Trans men who haven't transitioned still menstruate." Another tweeted, "I know you know this because you have been told over and over and over again, but transgender men can still menstruate. Non-binary people menstruate. I, a 37-year-old woman with a uterus, have not menstruated in a decade. Women are not defined by their periods." The official Clue Twitter, an app designed to track menstrual cycles, also responded to the tweet, writing, "Hi, at JK Rowling. Using non-gendered language is about moving beyond the idea that women equal uterus. Feminists were once mocked for wanting to change sexist language, but it's now common to say firefighter instead of fireman. It seems awkward right now to say people who menstruate, but this is just changing other biased language. Menstruation is a biological function, not a woman thing. It's unnecessary to gender body parts, and doing so can restrict healthcare access for those who need it." LGBTQ+ organization GLAAD, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, responded to Rowling's comments, tweeting, "JK Rowling continues to align herself with an ideology which willfully distorts facts about gender, identifying, and people who are trans. In 2020, there's no excuse for targeting trans people." GLAAD followed up by recommending people check out the Percy Jackson series by author Rick Riordan. By the way, looking for some summer reading? Percy Jackson author Rick Riordan isn't transphobic. Hashtag all kids deserve representation, the nonprofit organization wrote. How did Rowling respond? Rowling responded to the backlash by posting a series of tweets to defend her earlier statements. She tweeted, "I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. The idea that women like me who've been empathic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, in example to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and have lived consequences is nonsense." These additional comments were also met with subsequent backlash, with users labeling Rowling as a TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. One person replied to her tweets writing, "As a physician, I want people to know that sex exists on a bimodal biological spectrum, just like gender exists on a bimodal sociological spectrum. While most identify as either female or male, there are intersex and trans individuals whose identities are just as valid and real." Another wrote, "You're a smart person. How do you not yet understand the difference between sex and gender? The only way I can possibly explain your ignorance at this point is willfulness. It's incredibly disappointing." What's the blog post that Rowling published about? On June 10th, the author posted a tweet that read "Turf Wars," with a link to her website for a blog post titled "JK Rowling writes about her reasons for speaking out on sex and gender issues." In the post, she revealed her experience with domestic abuse and sexual assault for the first time. She wrote, "I'm mentioning these things now not in an attempt to garner sympathy, but out of solidarity with the huge number of women who have histories like mine, who've been slurred as bigots for having concerns about single-sex spaces." In the 3,600-word essay, Rowling writes about her struggles with sexism and misogyny, adding that reading accounts of gender dysphoria by trans men has made her wonder if I'd been born 30 years later, I too might have tried to transition. She wrote that she believed that misogyny and sexism were reasons behind the 4,400% increase in the number of girls being referred for transitioning treatment in the past decade. The essay has prompted heated debate online, with many Twitter users creating threads to debunk some claims about trans people that Rowling made in the essay, and with stars from the Harry Potter franchises responding to Rowling's comments. What did Rowling say about canceling culture? 150 writers and academics, including Rowling, recently signed an open letter condemning intolerant climate for free speech. The letter, which was published in Harper Magazine, was signed by the likes of U.S. intellectual Noam Chomsky, feminist Gloria Steinem, and Matthew Iglesias, co-founder of liberal news analysis website Vox. However, some of those who put their name on the letter have already begun to distance themselves from the document, saying that they didn't know who else would be involved in lending their name. Author and trans activist Jennifer Finney Boylan apologized for signing, saying, "I thought I was endorsing a well-meaning, if vague, message against internet shaming." The letter was criticized as it was explained that people, including celebrities and public figures, should be held accountable for their actions and their words. Emma Watson's response. Harry Potter, as well as Beauty and the Beast star Emma Watson, has become the latest figure to weigh in on the controversy provoked by the book series author JK Rowling's series of tweets about trans people. Trans people are who they say they are and deserve to live their lives without being constantly questioned or told they aren't who they say they are, wrote Watson on her own Twitter feed. "I want my trans followers to know that I and so many other people around the world see you, respect you, and love you for who you are. I donate to @mermaids_gender and Mama Cash, two related charities. If you can, perhaps you'd feel inclined to do the same," she said, adding, "Happy #Pride 2020, sending love, X." So that's it, folks. Let us know what you think of the situation of the famous writer. We're eager to know about your opinions on this situation, so please use the comment section or contact us on our provided email addresses. Your suggestions play a vital role in helping us create better content for you, so don't forget to give your feedback. See you guys in the next one!